Hi, Tootsie. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. And yourself?
I'm great, and I'm quite fascinated to know about your journey today. So I'm going to start off the proceedings is what inspired you to take on the role of director at SA Outreach and Emergency Services?
Okay, I'm actually the founder and director of SA Outreach and Emergency Services. I'm actually a rape survivor.
Okay.
And given from where I've come, it was my choice. For me, it's self healing. For
Mhm.
me, it's self healing. But more than that, I didn't want people in the same situation that I was in and not getting any help. So that is how we went about, and I built the NPO. I streamlined it in a way where all services are provided, from the legal wing to the medi wing to the flying wing, which I head up myself personally. And then the outreach programs, the youth wing so we've got everything. Everything is all in house. It's not like a victim needs to go to legal aid or run around or do anything. Everything is all in house.
What are the services you'll provide?
Okay. So SA Outreach is actually the umbrella
Hmm.
to the Flying Wing, which is the gender-based violence team. Where if there's something that's going on and maybe somebody cannot get the assistance of the SAP, or maybe they just need intervention immediately, then they would call me and I would respond. I would go out. Right. Then we have the legal wing. The director of the legal wing is Ms. Lisha Ramla. She's an attorney, and she's got a few other attorneys with her, including candidates that are working, and they head up all the matters in terms of gender based violence. So rapes and murders are done pro bono completely. The rest of the matters are done on an NPO rate. Then we have the Medi Wing, which is headed up by Dr. Tyron Naidu. And he's got social workers, he's got counselors, and a dentist, and everything, and all of those services all under him. Then he also oversees the youth wing. Then the outreach programs is run by me, where we go and do a whole lot of feedings or empowerments, um, uh, you know, um, sessions and workshops where we bring people together and we teach them, or we empower them, or we literally educate them on their rights, like we did with the NSP Pillar 3 last year. So that is what the outreach programs are about. It's not just about giving you a plate of food and me walking away. It's not about that. It's about, I want to know who you are, where you're coming from, what is going on with you. It's our way of actually checking when children have got cuts and burns or any signs of abuse, bruisings on them. We look for all of that when we are out there. I deal with a lot of children. I prefer
Hmm.
feeding the children, and I prefer feeding those that are over the age of 55. That's what I prefer. I do believe the in-betweeners can always take care of themselves, irrespective of
Hmm.
what they do. But I do believe that they can take care of themselves. We do have terminal patients that we see to, helping provide colostrum bags, diapers, and so forth. Even if they need their meals, whatever it is, we will assist our terminal patients. But with regards to victims of gender-based violence, we give them kickstarts. In other words, if they need a place to stay, we help with finding that. If they need food packs to start them off until they get a job, we will even help to look for a job for them. So
Wow.
all that falls under the outreach teams, but it's not where I'm looking for a hamper to give to a family and every month they're going to sit and they're going to wait for me to come and give them. I do realize times are difficult, but
Yeah.
if we had to provide that kind of a service, then I think that would go on, and we're
Hmm.
not going to be winning.
Yeah. Okay. What are the biggest challenges facing emergency response and outreach efforts in South Africa today?
Um, Services. If you phone SAP, there's not enough vehicles, there is not enough manpower, they are not completely updated with the new. See, when the president rolled out the NSP pillars, they are not updated with that. So last year, no, I'm lying, beginning of this year, the Commission for Gender Equality subpoenaed the Department of Justice, the Department of Health, the Director of Police. They were all subpoenaed, and Social Development as well. And they failed. They failed on the hearing. And now the Commissioner said, okay, fine, now we're going to send this up to the Parliament because how is it impacting gender-based violence? We are supposed to be, the rollout is to curb gender-based violence, but that's not happening. If you guys are not up to date with everything and you all are still following 2018's amended acts and so forth, how is this curbing gender-based violence? So that's where we have a problem. And because of this, people don't know their rights. They don't know when they get to the station what they need to do. And even if they do know, or they go there for help, and it's the SAP that doesn't know. So all round we have that problem. So that is one of the things that's failing at the moment. Services provided in order to help the victim itself. There isn't enough.
Okay, so how does your organization engage with local communities to ensure effective emergency responses?
Okay, so with us, we are partnered with quite a few of the CPFs. Even if they're not partnered, we've got friends in the CPFs that's across KZN. So if we have a problem, then I would call the CPF and say, this is what's going on in your area. Can you please check on it? I will stay on the phone for it. Remember, we don't get any funding. There's no funding at all for us from government, right? So for us to drive from one end to another end is very challenging. It is. So what we do is we engage with the different CPFs, or we call community leaders or activists on the ground, and we say, can you please check on this for us? This is the complaints that we have received. So they would go and check. And if it is a serious matter, then I would go out on my own. I would go there, or I would say, okay, I'm going to come to this police station. You need to meet me there. Or I'm going to come to that court. You're going to have to come there. And we'll get them to bring the victims and come to us. But that is the quickest way. Prior to this, I used to go out. I would move all Phoenix cases to one day on a Saturday. I would leave home by like 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And I would be in Phoenix by 6:45. And we used to map out all our cases, and we used to work out, okay, where are we going to start now? Where's the first case? How far in is the first case? And from there, we work our way, starting from the top and coming back towards Mount Edgecombe, coming back towards Chatsworth. So we used to finish like by 5:30, 5:45 in the evening, sometime 4 o'clock on a good day. But just go to each home and intervene or make a difference to each home. So it was getting very difficult in terms of traveling, in terms of fuel costing, in terms of lunches, because it was not just I going out, there was a team going out. So each time around, it became more and more difficult. And then we opened up the office. And that was the first gender-based violence office that was open. We opened it, it's a year now. We opened it on the 9th of August the year before. And in 2023, 2024, we already did 1 year for that. And now we moved into a bigger premises. When we started off in Summit School kitchen. That is what was offered to us, a kitchen. So we took it and we turned it into an office, and we struggled to work in there. So from there, we moved into a bigger office now. So what we do is now, if victims can come to us, we bring them to us. Maybe a community activist or whoever would bring them to us. So that way, we cut off our traveling costs unless there's emergencies. If there's a murder or rape or something, then yes, I'm on the move all the time. But if it's to do with just domestic violence, if it's not serious, they're not killing each other or hitting each other there, then we would ask for intervention and then being brought to us.
Okay, I don't know if, this one might end up repeating itself. So, what are the biggest funding challenges you face, and how can individuals or businesses support your initiatives?
Okay, so we are Section 18A compliant, which means that is for tax write off.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a tax write off. We also have a BE certificate, right? I'm under DSD. I've got a letter from DSD. I've also got a letter from the Commission for Gender Equality. I've got a letter from them. Businesses can contribute. We do have an NPO banking account, and businesses can contribute. I do have the banking details and I can send it to you. They can contribute in that way. With regards to funding, we've applied thrice for grant in aid. We were even last year, there was two applications that went off. One went off in the month of, I think it was May. And then in November, I got another message to say, you guys need to apply again. Not enough people made applications. So we did another application and everything was just quiet. It was just quiet. We hear that government doesn't have money. So there is no monies for us. There's no budget for us. There isn't a budget for us. With regards to overseas, I'll be a liar if I tell you I know how to go about doing it. I'm always very busy with matters at hand. I'm always busy it's either court or in the office or on the ground itself. And I do this 7 days in a week. It doesn't matter from where, whoever calls me, whether it's day or night, I will get up and I will answer and I will do my best to assist. So with regards to reaching out overseas, I didn't make an attempt to do research to find out how I can go about doing that. I didn't do it.
Okay, white doors and shelters. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, a white door is a temporary shelter for a female. And a shelter will keep you for 2 weeks if it's motivated a little bit more, depending on the circumstances. But there's a lot of red tape around that. Some of the shelters now require you to have a protection order. If you don't have the protection order, the next day they would take you and go. But you have to be a victim of gender-based violence itself for you to go in there. Unfortunately, Chatsworth only has one shelter and one white door. Our shelter here in Chatsworth only allows for 12 victims. So on a weekend now, if your numbers go high, or even if you need place and if there's already 12 in there, it means that you have a problem. You're not going to get place, right? A white door for us in Chatsworth, there's only one. And the lady there will tell you, well, I'm gone out for the weekend. Or she'll tell you, I can't get my lady to come out for the for the white door. Or sometimes she might say, okay, it's fine. You can bring the person. Sometimes she'll just blatantly tell you, we are not well here. So those resources are actually cut off. It's very difficult and very challenging. We cannot say that we're only going to have a certain number of victims. We cannot say that. For me personally, I feel there should be at least 4 shelters in Chatsworth. And I feel that there should be one big shelter in Chatsworth with about 4 white doors. So that if the shelter should home at least 30 people, it should home at least 30 victims. And remember, when a victim goes to the shelter, she can only take a minor child with her. A child maybe under the age of 13, 14. If it's a boy child, then there's a problem. They cannot put the boy into the shelter. So for me personally, a shelter should be a family unit, a mother with her children, and it should be for victims only, single victims. So it shouldn't be restricted to a particular number, like so low. So even if there's a problem, we should be able to move in with the victim. And then we still have other white doors to back that up. If we have a problem, we can always say, okay, listen, we don't need to disturb them. We can move straight to this white door, knock on the door at night and say, we've got a victim for you. And we shouldn't have that issue of, I don't want to open the door, or I can't do this, or I cannot phone this lady to come out now. every white door should be open 24 hours for a victim. That's what it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, that again is a problem. So, to curb gender based violence, here's another problem we have.
You'll obviously do and see a lot. How do you all as a team deal with the trauma?
It's difficult. It's very difficult. I, for one, have serious triggers coming from my background. I have very serious triggers, and sometimes just coming on a scene is very, very difficult. Very difficult. Most of them in my team, I would say 90% of them are victims of gender-based violence. But we have Dr. Naidu there that helps out. And we do have a pastor that comes in and does work with us. More than that, we've learned that we are a family and we all have one thing in common, and that is we are survivors. So when on the days when it's difficult for one, you'll find the others rallying around and trying to pick that one up. And we always stick together. We are always talking about things. We always find things to laugh about and to keep ourselves light at heart, where not everything is going to hurt us. We learned that we need to speak up, even if it's to our teammates, but we learn to speak. So that is how we move. And by the grace of God, so far, we've been doing well. We've been doing well.
How has technology improved emergency response efforts in recent years, and what innovations are you excited about?
Okay, so the NSP pillars was rolled out, and we haven't done so well with that. But yesterday, an app was released. An app was launched by the new Premier and Thuli. Premier and Thuli launched the app yesterday. I'm hoping and I'm praying, I'm excited about it. I'm hoping and I'm praying that people use it. Our rape statistics are not what they are. There's a lot of cases that's not reported. I'm hoping that people will make use of the app. It's a problem for somebody to get to the station. They don't even understand that they don't need to go to the station. Their first point when if they were raped, or if they've been seriously assaulted, their first point would be any provincial hospital, because all provincial hospitals has their own TCC center, the Tutuzela Care Centers. They are a special unit that is there to assist a victim of gender-based violence, be it rape or whatever, right? And from there, in that unit is not only a district surgeon, they've also got a psychologist, a social worker, and FCS is there. It's a specialized police unit that is also there, right? And majority of the time, victims will go to the police station, and it's secondary abuse. It's secondary abuse. By the time that police officer questions you, because he needs to do the statement, remember, I'm saying he. It's not good. It's secondary abuse on a victim, because now she's got to go and say all the deep, dark things that's been hurting and tearing her apart, and things that's making her uncomfortable. She's got to relive everything again with the guy. So it's TCC. But whereas now with this new app, they can go onto it and everybody is on there. All the first responders are there, whether it's the SAP, whether it's the crisis care or whatever, all of them are on that app. So you just got to go in and put everything in, and assistance, you'll get the assistance that you need. Question is, will our people use it? That's where we got a problem. Will they use it? And how much of education is a community going to get on the app itself? That's where the issue is. I can tell you right now, and no feather in my cap on this one, if half of Chatsworth, if you go, they'll tell you straight out, no, we don't want to go to the police. We're looking for Tootsie. Tootsie will help us. Tootsie's going to put an end to the problem. But more often than not, These people just need somebody to listen to them and reason with them, show them a different route, help them to see light in the whole thing, help them to come to some kind of solution, a way forward. That's majority of the time what they need. We've saved countless marriages, countless. We've saved the marriages. So it is simple. It's just about listening. But I'm hoping and I'm praying this tool, people will use it. I'm hoping and I'm praying, and it should be made. Um, it should be given to all the schools for the children there at schools. Even the children can go home and take it to the parents. The parents will take it to workmates. It's going to get around, but it has to be put out there properly.
Mm. Does your organization work with international NGOs or government agencies to enhance its outreach programs?
International, no, I have not tried that. I'll be a liar if I do tell you I did. I didn't. I work with civil society and other NGOs here in on the ground itself. I'm always looking forward to work with people, but I'm also very careful with who and what I work with. I notice there are a lot of people that are genuinely passionate about doing the work, and it's not about money or something like that. It's not about all of that. It's genuinely the need to service and help our people. So I'm very careful when I do work with people. But yes, I do work with civil society, other NGOs and NPOs. I do it.
Can you share a memorable success story where SA Outreach and Emergency Services made a significant impact?
Okay, so there was a child that was assaulted, brutally assaulted by her sister and her sister's boyfriend in Wabidat. And it made headlines because this child was beaten over a period of time. She was hammered in her head, her feet, her hands. They carved on her body and so forth. And we stayed with the child. There was a very good, strong warrant officer that worked with the case, and we it went to court. The matter, it was set down for trial. And but in all of this, her teeth even were hammered out. Her teeth were broken with a hammer, right? And initially, when the police had gone there, they thought the child was mad. She went to a neighbor and somebody called for help, and they thought the child was mad. But this child's temperatures were so high because her wounds were septic. She wasn't mad. Her wounds were septic. Today, this young lady has a beautiful set of teeth. She's done so well at school.
Wow.
And they've actually upped her grade. She's gone into the next grade, 2 grades in 1 year. And she's doing exceptionally well. Her hair is grown. She's so much taller. And she's doing really, really, really well. That is the one. The other one was a very sad story. I don't know whether you remember the case Jackie Naidu that was murdered in Phoenix, where she was burnt alive with her African Greys, 2 of them.
No.
She left behind a son. And we've got 25 years conviction for the murderer.
Okay.
And her son is doing absolutely well. Absolutely well.
Okay, finally, where do you see the organization in the next 5 years, and what are your biggest goals moving forward?
My goal is to make sure that it's either we can partner with other NGOs and say to them, you know what, if you guys can in-house all the services so people don't have to run around in this day and age, right? Or my goal is to make sure that we are in all the provinces and that the services are provided for. People don't have to run to different parts of the place where it's so dangerous. Like, for example, I'm in Chatsworth. A victim from Chatsworth has to find transport to go to Pinetown for legal aid or to go to Durban for legal aid. And we know both places are really dangerous. So if people can just like different parts, like, if they can be attorneys that would come forward and say, I want to help. I want in on this. And if they all can get together and say, this is the services that we're going to provide. We'll do these cases pro bono, these cases we'll assist with, and even medical teams come on board, social workers come on board. And you know what? If we can move across South Africa in that way, then we should be able to curb gender based violence. We should be able to do it. In 5 years' time, I hope and I pray, by the grace of God, I'm hoping that we are able to reduce the numbers. We are able to reduce the numbers. It's a common thing now for boys to be sleeping with boys sexually. I've noticed there's a lot of sexually active children, and I ask myself, what happened to our children these days? I know I, for one, still have teddy bears and dolls and so forth. And I'm asking myself, where's those children gone to? So I would love to see children being children, and we must do our best when it comes to the children, because if we start at the bottom and as our children grow, we should be able to get rid of what is happening on the top, because we will be bringing change. So for me, it is to create services on hand throughout all provinces and in 5 years. And at the same time, for me, it is about educating, empowering, and equipping our children so that as they grow, they're going to grow to be better kids, and we will be able to bring change by the time they are adults.
All I got to say is thanks so much for giving me your time, and hopefully we can catch up again in the future.
Thank you so much.